the story of Crystal Bassette, who was making six figures a year in the adult film industry before she decided to make a radical career shift. She became a pastor. Here's ABC's Diane Macedo.
It's Sunday morning, and Crystal Bassette cannot be late to church. The 33-year-old mother of three and her husband David are the pastors here at New Beginnings in upstate New York. And while Crystal seems to be a model Christian now, it's a relatively new role.
Today we're going to talk about fight, flight, or freeze, and have faith.
Until 3 years ago, she was a porn star.
I don't appreciate this body.
Her screen name was Nadia Hilton, and she starred in over 100 adult films.
At some point, did it all just feel normal and routine to you?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that now, looking back?
Shocked that my mind and my body got to that point where it's just like, it became like this normal thing.
Crystal says it was also normal for her to make up to $30,000 a month.
Used to go to the Playboy Mansion all the time, you know, and that was like the starstruck thing, meeting Hugh Hefner and everybody. I mean, it was glamorous at times.
Growing up in upstate New York, Crystal says she could never have predicted the twists and turns of her life.
A teenager, I grew up, I was an honor roll student in high school. I was a varsity cheerleader. You know, I was always active that way.
But she got pregnant with her son Justin when she was just 16. So she started stripping to make money and moved to California to give her son a better life.
We grew up poor, very poor.
Were you trying to give him a life that you never had?
Yes, absolutely. I was like, I wanted to give him all the things, like, I didn't have a snowmobile, I didn't have four-wheelers, I didn't have any of that stuff as a kid.
She says an agent discovered her and convinced her to try pornography.
The first shoot was horrible. I was scared. I remember talking to a guy, and he's like, "You don't look like you really want to do this." And I was like, I don't know, I was so nervous. After the shoot, I sat in a shower, and I was bawling my eyes out, crying for like 2 hours, just sitting there. Like, I just felt so gross and just dirty.
But you went back, why?
Money. I went back for money.
I never thought I was going to get Nadia Hilton in front of my camera.
Soon, she was a star.
People recognized you all over the place. It was just weird, you know, because if you just think about it, you know, they're recognizing me because of something that is not talent.
But the money was rolling in.
I would spend $3,000 or $4,000 a week at the mall, buying dumb stuff, you know, clothes, shoes.
Not even 30 years old, she had a house in Malibu and a Ferrari, even her own nightclub back home.
I quickly got sucked into it, and you're making more and more money, and you're spending more money.
But Crystal says despite it all, she wasn't happy.
I started taking painkillers and hydrocodone and drinking alcohol to get through the scene. I was like numbing myself.
She was also coming to grips with the sexual abuse she says she suffered as a child.
I had a bad, abusive childhood, like, 'cause I was sexually abused by 2 different people as a child.
How did you feel that affected you?
That, I think, is a huge impact on why I got into the adult industry. And I was constantly seeking for male attention I didn't get when I was a kid.
Then in 2014, she drove home drunk.
I had to get into a car crash, broke my nose, had stitches down inside my face. My Escalade got totaled.
What did you hit?
Guardrail, and it just went spinning, flipping.
It was a wake-up call, and Crystal started going to church with her sister.
I actually started reading the Bible when I was on the set. I was reading then, and I hated it.
She decided to leave the porn industry for good. Getting through her final scenes was especially difficult.
I hated it because I wasn't taking pain medicine or anything like that. It was like everything was sinking in. It was horrible.
And then she met the young pastor, David Bassette.
And I showed up there, and I first noticed her, but she was wearing these high heels that were like crazy big. And I looked at her, I was like, man, she's got it going on. And I'm like, too tall. I'm not interested. I'm a short guy.
He was worried she might be too tall for him, but wasn't that concerned about what she did for work. So the two started dating.
And so you're a pastor, she's a porn star. That's kind of an unlikely pairing. How did that come to be? What drew you to her?
I liked the fact that she was independent and very strong, and unfortunately probably hard to control, and I like that, so I was up for a challenge, I guess.
Did it make it harder for you knowing Crystal's path?
Not at all. I don't. Listen, that's what Christ is about.
Armed with a degree and with David by her side, Crystal slowly rebuilt her life.
It took me a little while to find a job because your past keeps coming up. And people know, like, oh, she's that porn star, so they weren't going to hire me. I got turned away by so many different jobs because of that.
She eventually landed a job as a legal assistant, and she and David got married.
Come here. Come here.
Their son Carter came along soon after, but Crystal's past continued to haunt her. David says the negative attention they received forced him to leave his church. So a year later, they decided to start their own.
And why start your own church? Why not just join another?
Because we're called to. You know, I didn't see that as my calling right away. I mean, I see it now, but I feel like I can help abused women in the adult industry. Preaching and being able to reach out to people that are broken and lost, it's a calling.
You can't let that fear set in right away because you never know if it's something good that's happening.
And she says that past she tried so hard to shake is now an asset that helps her connect with people of all backgrounds.
With us, it's like there was no judgment on people. People felt free. It didn't matter if you came through the doors with full body piercings and tattoos and stuff. It's like, you know, we didn't judge them. Everybody's got a past.
For Nightline, I'm Diane Macedo in Fulton, New York.